and he's certainly an ultra-marathon runner to contend with in years to come.
Barry Barty there, the chairman of the CMA, welcomes him home. The Russians came, they saw, and they certainly conquered. Nick Bester in second place. There's Franklin Rolosi, the Premier of KwaZulu-Natal. A spirited finishing charge by Nick Bester. He has won this race before, and he's run today an absolutely outstanding time, 5 hours and 30 minutes. And who would have thought that running 5.5 hours would only give you second place? But he was up against a superior athlete who outthought him and outran him on the day.
Alexei Volgin, also of Russia, comes in for his second consecutive third position. The rolling windmill arm showing that he had plenty in reserve, and very pleased with his performance.
Outstanding run, so the Russians get 1 and 3. Sandwich between them, Nick Bester carrying the flag for South Africa. Volgin, a terrific run. And there he embraces comrades in arms, literally trained together in the Himalayas. And here they do 1 and 3. And all that work really is worthwhile. Spare fault though for Charles Matthias, fourth place. And he lost a bit of will towards the end. For him it was either win or nothing. A great run though, wonderful time, betting the kind of time he was aiming for. And in fifth place, defending champion Sean Nicholson, perhaps more at home on the down run. Here we have a Grishin under 5.5 hours. Bester, Volgin, Matthias and Nicholson, all under 5:40. Splendid running there. 3 South Africans and 2 Russians. But a very happy person today, all the way from America, and at last, a smile for the crowds. And Trayson comes home, heading for a wonderful new up-course record, smashing fifth Van der Merwe's old mark. It was 6:32, 6 hours, 32 minutes. It's now 6 hours and 13 minutes and a couple of seconds. What a wonderful run she's had. Second place, Maria Buck, looking a lot more comfortable. She'll be delighted with her time of 6 hours and 24 minutes and a few seconds, also beating the old up record. So it was first last year for the German and now second this time. And no doubt she'll be back trying to recapture that title and emulate her victory of last year. Third place, Valentina Shatieva, the Russians making their presence felt. But the class act today, Anne Trayson, smashing the up record, 6:14.12. A solid 10 minutes ahead of Maria Buck. Shatieva coming in under the old record.
Grishin and novice from the Ukraine. The American entrants eclipsed Frith Arliotti, nay Van der Merwe's uprun record by 19 minutes. Charles Matthias, the snowman, was determined to make the Comrades his own. Let's review last year's highlights with our commentary team.
And the race started by the mayor of Pietermaritzburg. Perfect conditions, 6 degrees at the start, which was quite warm for Pietermaritzburg at this time of the year. Ideal conditions throughout the day, windless and later on dry with bright sunshine.
And just under 14,000 runners, amongst them 203 from overseas. And the battle lines were drawn. Would it be a South African victory or an overseas victory this year? But for the many thousands of runners behind those seeded runners up front, it was a day of excitement, of pain, fatigue, drama, and ultimately great, great triumph. Lovely, lovely morning. The sponsors light ship up over the Valley of 1,000 Hills and low cloud in the early morning. Perfect conditions for the runners. And soon a lead group formed. A couple of the faster runners went out quickly, but the real contenders were always in there. Charles Matthias in the green and blue in the middle of the picture.
Dmitry Grishin was there, Alexei Volgin was there, as were many of the other contenders. And a feature of the early part of this race was how the major names got together and watched each other. Trayson and Maria Buck were watching each other as well. The 2 main contenders in the ladies' race went straight out and were keying off each other, with Valentina Liakova following them as well.
In the Mr. Price colours up front, Maria Buck, defending champion, and the defending champion of last year on the uprun, Dmitry Grishin of Russia. And a lot of pressure on him. He didn't have a great 2 Oceans marathon earlier this year. He went back to Kazakhstan to train, and he was back. The defending downrun champion, Sean Nicholson of South Africa, really looked comfortable early on and was hoping to come through towards the end, as is his wont. But the competition very, very strong. Runners from South Africa and from overseas, but the conditions quite excellent early on.
And the pace fast, but not suicidal. And we realized as soon as we saw that we would have a very, very exciting race. Everybody running steadily, but nobody prepared to risk everything with a mad gamble in the first half.
And the favourites very often hanging back, but two of them in that lead group, Charles Mateus in the front there, the tall figure of Russian Dmitry Grishin, both running in the Rentmeester Reparol Gel colours, blue and green, and they'd laid their cards squarely on the table. They were the men to beat today.
A few kilometers behind them, the leading ladies, Maria Buck, suddenly surging and deciding to go ahead and pull ahead of her main contender, her main rival, Anne Trayson. And so the gauntlet was thrown down, and we had a thrilling race brewing in the ladies' race as well.
Maria Buck, who won it 2 years ago in the last down run, started out very, very strongly. And the spectators were on the ground and also up in the sky. But that top five now developing on the big run out of Drummond up towards Bothers Hill.
And as they pulled their way up towards Bothers Hill, up the steep hills there, Nick Bester decided to make a move, but behind him Grishin, Mateus, and last year's 10th placer Donovan Wright also hanging back and waiting.
Well, Nick Bester is very, very aggressive front runner, and he took the race by the scruff of the neck, as did Maria Buck, coming through halfway, and the leading woman not far behind the men, and the German now on an absolute roll, running very strongly, and having dropped Anne Trayson, the defending champion, quite a way back at this stage. Strong running there by the German. Her husband, Kazimierz Buck, also in the top 20, so the pair of them having a great day.
And Anne Trayson coming through halfway, looking good, but hanging back, a slight shadow over her chances because of the fact that she'd had major surgery earlier on an injury, and she was biding her time and seeing how the injury would go.
Anne Trayson, a remarkable woman athlete, holder of the world record for 100 kilometers, winner of many an ultramarathon, particularly trail races. She's very popular in the United States. Still the foreign juggernaut keeping going, but amongst the men up front, the lead was changing over and over again. This time Nick Bester now coming over the top of Bothers Hill down towards Hillcrest, and with him the South African marathon record holder Zituleli Sinkwe, 2:08 for the marathon, the fastest man in the field, and many people were asking and questioning whether Sinkwe would go the distance over the 90 kilometers.
Further back, Maria Buck doing what she'd done 2 years before, leading the women's down race and doing it with great determination, running very quickly and looking like she was heading for a 6-hour time.
Downfields Hill, the biggest drop of the course, and this is the decisive move made by Nick Bester. On the bone-jarring descent, he charged at 3-minute pace to get away from the others.
And this was always going to be a doubtful move because it worked in that he pulled away, but was he damaging his leg muscles so badly that later on he would feel the effects? This was the big question. Charles Mateus at this stage not looking that good hanging back, but was Charles Mateus hanging back deliberately in order to save his legs for the challenge later on in the race? The solid back markers, the middle runners, the 9-hour, 10-hour runners, all well within the safety cutoff limit and showing the true spirit of the Comrades Marathon. In front, Nick Bester tried to surge away again and looked pretty convincing at times as he carved himself a lead, but he was never able to get completely away, and every time lurking in the background was Sinkwe and Charles Mateus.
And behind them, the shuffling of the gold medals never stopped, and the shuffling went on. Rustam Shloli finished third twice. Behind him, Andrew Kalehe, and now the decisive move by Charles Mateus.
And all of us collectively inhaled our breath as Charles Mateus just surged past Nick Bester with about 3 or 4 kilometers to go, and it was such a devastating move that in one moment we realized this was probably the winner of the 1997 Comrades Marathon.
Meanwhile, Maria Buck still holding off the women, looking comfortable surrounded by men, but Anne Trayson was giving chase, the American defending champion on the up run from last year. Never say die, Anne Trayson, and she was hauling in Maria Buck at a rate of knots.
And so a few years after sadly being disqualified from the Comrades Marathon, Charles Mateus got his just rewards, coming back to win the Comrades Marathon, the 1997 down run, in a time of under 5.5 hours to join the very exclusive sub 5.5 hour club. And what a thrilling and deserved win it was.
And what a disappointment also for Nick Bester, beaten man. He really ran his heart out, but perhaps the tactical error was to go too hard and too fast downfield hill, which knocked the stuffing out of him.
And so Charles Mateus won the 1997 Comrades Marathon, 5 hours, 28 minutes, fabulous time and a great run and into a very, very thrilling race.
And a very deserved victory. The man who has almost dedicated his life to winning this race. He spent some time training in the high altitude of Colorado, and it obviously paid great dividends. And he came through now to earn his first place. And Nick Bester, a very tired, exhausted Nick Bester, but nevertheless determined and coming through second and first two from South Africa.
And in third place, a surprise, Poland's Janiski, running a great run, second in the Two Oceans a couple of years ago, but proving here that he has a great potential as a Comrades runner as well.
And eventually Zitulele Sinkwe comes through in the fourth position ahead of Andrew Kalehe, who finished very, very strongly to take fifth. And Sarel Ackerman, the teammate of Nick Bester, comes through to take the sixth position. And great joy for the Voltaren Tux team. So confirmation of the results there. Matthias under 5:30, Nick Bester just over. Janiki from Poland third, Zitulele Sinkwe came fourth, and Andrew Kalehe got the fifth place.
In sixth place, Ackerman, seventh, the defending down run champion Sean Mickeljohn, Rustam Ahloli in eighth, Peter Cummins in the veteran in ninth, and the Russian Santilov 10th.
And in a move that mirrored the men's race, we had a new leader right near the end of the race. American Ann Trazen, defending her title she won last year, came storming through to go past Maria Buck. And Maria Buck running in second place, but the winner in the ladies' race, Ann Trazen, who stormed over the last few kilometers, lots of problems out on the road, and she will come home to earn her second straight win, back-to-back wins for the American. Comrades Marathon's officials in attendance. The time under 6 hours, but just outside Frith van der Merwe's course record of 5:54. Really gutsy lady this, but one of the best ultramarathon runners in the world. Maria Buck comes through, fine sportswoman that she is, to take second place, and a great, great time, exactly 2 minutes behind Trazen, 22 minutes quicker than 2 years ago. So the winning time there, under 6 hours, Buck just over 6 hours.
Well, a magnificent run by Charles Matthias, success at last. He was acclaimed the winner in 1997, and Bruce, a great achievement for him.
I think he just got rid of that ghost of the 1992 unfortunate incident, and I have to say I didn't pick him. I didn't think he could do it, and my money was on Nick Bester. Literally, I had a bet there, and Charles just got it dead right. What he did is he didn't panic running down Fields Hill. He held back, he kept a bit of leg strength, and he struck at exactly the right moment, running on the downhills towards the finish, and it was a convincing and deserved win.
Well, there was a time when he actually went to Denver, Colorado to train in the snow.
Yeah, he does that now. That's become his pattern. I think what he likes to do is to get away from the pressures of the build-up to Comrades, because there's certainly, as defending champion, there are enormous pressures from your sponsors, from the press, and from fans, and people wanting you to appear here, there, and everywhere. So he gets away to a place that's hardly heard about the Comrades and just gets on with his training. I personally would find that incredibly tough. I like to have my family, friends, mates, and I don't mind it at the appearances and things like that. But it works for him, and so he must stick to that formula. You know, as I was saying earlier, if it works, don't change it on the day.
Bruce, let's go back to that 1992 episode. A lot of our viewers won't have known the details. Jetman was made the winner. Charles Matthias, who crossed the line first, was disqualified. Yes,
because there were traces of some ingredient in cough mixture in his drug test, because since about 1982-83, the winners and a lot of the gold medalists and some random runners throughout the field are regularly tested. And Charles, I think, accidentally fell short of that rule. Unfortunately, the substance was in his sample, and that's it. And Jetman himself has said he's a very unhappy winner because he said he didn't carry the baton across the line, which is a wonderful moment when the little boy gives you the baton and you know you're going to win. You've got that last lap. He didn't break the tape. They gave him the winner's medal a month later. You know, you've got to do it on the day. So it was unfortunate for everyone concerned. It would be nice to see Jetman maybe win one properly. And it was great for Charles that finally he got a proper, legitimate win.
Well, there was that foreign domination that actually went on for some time until Charlie Dahl of Germany